Shown below is a sector of a circle of diameter 48 millimeters. That means, of course, the radius is 24 millimeters. We want to determine the perimeter of the sector. That's the distance around. So if I start at this point here, I could walk along the radius and then along a second radius. So that's going to be 48. And then I have to walk around the curve. Now, 360 take away 75. So if we do 360 take away 75, that's 285 degrees. So this angle here is 285. So when we go around the curve, we're going 285 3/60ths, remember 360 degrees in a circle, of the circumference. And the circumference is 2 times pi times the radius. So we just need to calculate that. So that's 48, add. So we've got, I've used the wrong template there. Let's just remove that. We wanted the fraction. And we've got 285 over 360 times 2 times pi times the radius, which was 24. And that gives me 167.38 millimeters. What is the area of the sector? Well, we know for a whole circle, it's pi r squared. What fraction of the circle do we have? Well, once again, it's 285 over 360. But this time it's pi times the radius squared. So it's going to be pi times 24 squared. And so let's just drag that, save typing it in again. And then we've got times pi times 24 squared. And that's 1432.57, and that would be in square millimeters. Remember to use the units. We're now asked, what is the area of the quadrilateral below? Now, it's ABCD, so we're going along. So the quadrilateral is this bit along here. Let's just get rid of those lines. And so we can see that we can work it out by working out the area of the two triangles. So we've got the area of this triangle here and the area of this triangle here. Now, to work out the area of the triangle ABC, we're going to want this length. So the first thing we need to do is work out the length of AC. And to do that, we can use the triangle around the outside. So we can see that this length is 22, the right angle is there, and this length is 5. So using Pythagoras' theorem, that is going to be the square root of 5 squared plus 22 squared. I don't actually need to work that out. Let's just work out 5 squared plus 22 squared. So 5 squared I know is 25 plus 22 squared. So it's the square root of 509. It's It's more accurate if I use that rather than working it out later on, but you can, of course, work it out. Just keep an extra couple of decimal places. So once I've got that, since this is a right-angled triangle, I can use AC as the base and the 8 here as the height. So the area is going to be a half times root 509 times 8, half base times height. And so that would give me this triangle. And then for the other triangle, I can use the base as 10 and the height as 5. So I've got base times height divided by 2. Note here, I did it as half base times height, but base times height divided by 2, I think, is what most students like to use. So we could do it like that, base times height divided by 2. And then we just need to work that out. So I've got the square root of 509 times 8 divided by 2. And then we're going to add that to 10 times 5, which is 50 divided by 2. And that gives me 115.24. And that would be in square centimeters. The volume of a cube is 64 cubic centimeters. What is the length of one of its sides? Well, if it's a cube, the sides are all the same length. So it's going to be 4. 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Or you could think about it, if you weren't sure about 4 times 4 times 4, you could say it's x, and then you know that the cube is x cubed, and say x cubed is 64, and that means that x would be the cube root of 64. And we've got the cube root what we do is we use that, and then we type a 3 in there to get cube root. And 64. And then that is 4 centimeters. What is the volume in cubic millimeters? It's easier to convert lengths than it is to convert volumes. So 4 centimeters is a side. That means that 40 millimeters is a side converted to millimeters. So the volume would be 40 times 40 times 40, 40 cubed. So we're just going to do 40 to the power 3, and that's 64,000 cubic millimeters. Now, consider the pentagonal prism below. Pentagonal because you can see that the end is a 5-sided shape, so it's a pentagon. All sides of the pentagon are of length 5 centimeters, and the area of the shaded pentagon is 43 centimeters squared, or square centimeters. So we know that this is 43 square centimeters, and that is the cross section. What is the volume of the prism? So we know that the volume for a prism is always cross-sectional area times the length. And we're told the cross-section is 43. And we can see on the diagram that the length is 10. And just check that's in centimeters squared, that's in centimeters, so we can just multiply them. So that gives me 430 cubic centimeters. Calculate the surface area of the prism. Well, it's made of 2 pentagons, so we've got 2 lots of 43 for the 2 ends, and then there'll be 5 rectangles, 5 because there's 1 for each side, and so there will be 5 rectangles, And we were told the sides of the pentagon are 5. And we know the length is 10. So 2 times 43, so that's 86. Add 25 times 10, which is 250. So 86, add 250 is 336. And of course, get the units right. That one's an area, so it's square centimeters.